Hello, good morning, student. So we have already started what are the different burning issues in Indian environment, and today we are supposed to start the plastic use. Am I audible, student?
Yes,
Okay. So we are now day by day we are using plastic for so many things, but for particular plastic is banned at international level. So we are also following that. So particular plastic is banned totally. So you can see India generates about 2,600 and truck boards of plastic waste every day. So this is a record from 2017-18. So it has been increased. So more than 2,600 trucks loading every day at Indian scenario. So this figure is at overall India. So that much of truck we are loading every day. So our country has to do some commitment to avoid to use the plastic. They have different policies, rules and regulation to avoid the plastic. If you go and purchase some groceries in the market, not in the market, in the mall, then it is compulsory to take a cloth bag along with you. Otherwise, they will charge heavily. More than I think 7 rupees they will charge for the plastic bag. So like that they have started. Also, so many NGOs are doing campaigning that to stop using plastics. So NGO itself they distribute the cloth bag with some quoted messages in the community that people can read and people can avoid to use the plastic. Nowadays, if we go in our Mumbai market area, so you will not get any plastic bag in particular market area, but along the street side, so many plastics, these vegetable vendors, and they carry illegally. If they, if some local government catch them, then they have to pay 5,000 rupees fine if they are using that plastic. So India plastic processing industry has over 30,000 units and annually turnover is near about 2.25 lakh crore. And because of this regulation to stop using plastic bags for particular things, this because of this plastic industry got affected. So they are having the shortage of money because their industry has slowed down their production. At some level, the production has stopped. So anyway, one thing is interlinked with the other thing. So one is affected, so definitely other side is also get affected. Now you can see the Ganga is the second biggest contributor to the plastic pollution in the ocean. So here are the figure. Plastic input into the ocean in 2015. This figure is given in the turn. So you can see China is the first country which is pouring the plastic into the ocean at number one level. After the China, India and Bangladesh. So India and Bangladesh at the same level. So much of plastic we are dumping into the ocean. So you can imagine that what will be the effect of this life of the ocean. Their life below the water is get affected. So at UN agenda to save the ocean, this is this agenda they have taken at the international level, and many organizations are working on that. how to save the ocean, how to stop the decarbonization of water, how to reduce the oil spilling into the ocean. So what can we do to save the ocean? So one of the factor is a plastic, and plastic pollution is now a global agenda. Now, what are the things we use in day by day in our day-to-day life? So bottle cap, 12% of bottle caps and lids, 19% chips and contemporary packets. This packet is also contains some plastics. 10% PET bottles, 8% garbage bag, 8% packaging, and 43% others. So now you must be knowing that many in India, in many railway station, at many public area, they are having the bottle crusher machines. So if we crush that bottle, you will get the token, and that token you can use it for buying the buying the water bottle. So like that bottle crushing machine, we have to increase this installation of the machine at high level, so people cannot throw this bottle anywhere. So this bottle crushing machine, whatever crush is there, that goes into the company and they recycle these bottles. So like that, if I can give the example, many companies are using their CSR fund to donate this bottle crushing machine to the different cities. Like that, I think in western side we have bottle crusher machine at some railway station. So people can put their plastic bottle into that machine and they will get the token. Number of units collected in 2018 it's in million, figure is in million. Cigarette butts 5.7, food wrappers 3.7, straws and stirrers 3.7, plastic fork, knives and spoons 2, beverage bottles 1.8, bottle caps 1.4, grocery bags 1, plastic lids 0.7, plastic cups and plates 0.7, other plastic bags 0.9. So that much of the plastics gathered in the year of 2019. Now, see the here, India plastic consumption is less than half of the global average. This figure is of this figure is taken in the year of 2014 and 15. And these figures are given in the kg. So, in that during that year, US was the first, that is 109 kg plastic use or plastic consumption. After that, Brazil 32, Europe 65, China 38, India 11, and overall world 28. So that much of the plastic consumption in the year of 2014 and 15. So India has over 30,000 plastic making units. Out of that, that company is earning near about 2.25 lakh crores. So you can say that plastic production is generating too much of money. Means those who are having the plastic industry, you can say that that much of plastic we are using and we are giving the profit to that company. So this 2.25 lakh crores earning over 30,000 units. So we are having 30,000 units in India, which are generating the plastic products and which that we are using. They are selling in the market and they are earning near about 2.25 lakh crore. And in this plastic industry, near about 4 million people are doing the job. So 4 millions are employed in the plastic industry. Now, there is another problem. If we stop somewhat plastic, to use in our day-to-day life, then it affects the industry and it affects the turnover of industry. Definitely, that plastic industry will be a shortage of money, you can say, and they start cutting their staff. They reduce the um, employee from their company. So this will affect directly on the employment of us. So each and everything is linked to each other. Industry is depend upon the people and people also depends upon the industry. So as and today we cannot stop totally to use the plastics. So we have to go step by step. So some steps are taken at international level. So we have stopped to utilize such plastics. And if you are using that plastic, then there are some rules and regulation how to send whatever leftover plastic or use plastic. We have to do waste management of this plastic material. You have to send this plastic to recycling industry, and there is a gap in between these. So plastic waste management. That's why so much of plastic we are putting in the ocean. We are dumping into the river. We are dumping the plastic in our sewerage system. So there is a gap in between the use of plastic or do the proper plastic waste management. So if each and everyone, every individual will take the step in case of plastic use and plastic waste management, then definitely this 4 million people will not affect. So your state-wise plastic generation is given. See here, Gujarat 269,808. This figure is in ton, and Madhya Pradesh 61037. So you can see that who is the highest, which state is highest city which is generating the plastic. You can say the Gujarat and Uttar Pradesh both are similar. At stage, there is a little difference in these two figures. Now, I have given already the example of that rag pickers or street picker, those who are segregate the recycling material or segregate the waste from the landfill, or they go to the society, or they go on the street where garbage are dumped on the dustbin or on the along the roadside. So these street pickers or rag pickers, they segregate the this waste. They pick up the plastic, they pick up the metals, and they sell to vendors, and they earn the money on this recycling material. So waste segregation and management, which is not effective in the Indian scenario. Why? Because only certain types of single-use plastic can be recycled. Cling films used to preserve food as well as a certain types of polythene and plastic cannot be recycled. So such type of waste, they vendors they don't buy. So and this type of plastic, it takes to degrade in the soil. It takes many years. So such type of plastic is lying as it is on the landfill or um on along the roadside. If that local government does not pick up this type of things, then it is difficult to degrade this type of plastic, and degradation process is long. So such type of plastic is banned. So the people, or the you can say the society, those who collect the garbage, such type of plastic they just dump into the landfills, or sometimes they dump in the water bodies. According to the Saurabh Manuja, he has reported that uh, because of such plastics dumping on the landfills and water bodies, uh, one day there will be no space on the landfills and water bodies to dump this type of segregated plastics. So even plastic that can be recycled do not get segregated from other waste. And whatever waste it is collected, that they just dump into the water bodies and they just dump into the landfill. Sometimes there is a pressure on the landfills, and because of the pressure, the landfill area gets a fire, and it the smoke comes out from the landfill, and this affects the nearby residential area. You can say that uh, our area, Govandi area, there is a landfill, and sometimes it smell comes, sometimes smoke comes. So many NGOs have raised the issue of these landfills because local people they complained to the local government that landfill should be shifted outside the Mumbai. So Indian Ocean world biggest dumping ground for the plastic waste. It is estimated that 1.5 million tons of plastic end up into the ocean every year. Most of this waste is dumped into the Indian Ocean, but where the trash ultimately end up is still mystery. You must have seen that during the rainy season, when high tide is there, then whenever high tide is there, the ocean throws the waste. Normally, we have seen that plastic comes on the road. So whatever plastic we have dumped into the ocean during rainy season, it comes out of the ocean. So you can say that ocean has become the garbage bin. Normally in Bay of Bengal, where the waste is accumulated and dumping into the ocean. Humans consume microplastic equivalent to size of credit card every week. Plastic trash gets degraded into tiny components that enter food and water sources, eventually ending up inside our bodies. According to report, human and end up the consuming almost 5 grams of plastic every week, most of it through the water. I can give the example that I have seen some news in the newspaper that whatever salt pan we are having in our Mumbai region, one IIT fellow, he has done the research about that salt, and he found that the plastic particles into that salt. So why this happens? Because we are dumping so much of plastic into the ocean, and due to that, the particles entered into the salt. After refining the salt, also the plastic particles are remain into the salt, and day to day food we need salt, so we are consuming that plastic particles along with the food. So why rag pickers, unrecognized and unpaid, are are critical for waste management in India? So already we have discussed about this rag pickers or street pickers. They pick up the recycled material from the landfill from the society. So they are pick upping or recycling material from the garbage means what? They are doing the segregation of the waste. In fact, they are helping to the local government. This rag because of this rag picker, the garbage is segregated, and this issue has been raised by some international organization that why these people can't be given salary by the local government because they are doing the segregation of waste. So near about 450 million tons by 2050. So the waste crisis will reach near about 450 million tons by 2050. So the environment minister has stated that India will in another couple of decades generate nearly thrice the waste it currently does, that is 165 million tons by 2030 and 450 million tons by 2050. So only 28% of waste now collected in the processed or treated. And who is helping to collect the recycling material and send for the processing? These rag pickers. So many NGOs are raised this issue, international NGO, that why these people should not be given salary because they are helping to the local government to segregate the waste. Now you might be knowing that there are different color codes are used for the waste. Normally you can see in housing society this green color dustbin and blue color dustbin. Actually, blue color dustbin is specially for the e-waste, but in the society, we put the recycling material into this blue dustbin and biodegradable waste into the green dustbin. So these colors we can see in the hospitals and you can say in the health sector. There are two more dustbins, yellow and the black. So what is the use of this yellow dustbin? Yellow dustbin is used for to dump the pathological waste or infectious waste, and black dustbin which is used for the e-waste also in the hospital, means syringe and whatever metal particle used in the to treat the patient. But yellow dustbin is for pathological waste or infectious waste, or medical chemical waste or clinical lab waste can be dumped into the yellow dustbin. So yellow and black, this, and sometimes white dustbin also used in the hospital. So this has been made a rule in India as per the solid waste management rule, that is 2016. The municipal solid waste, which is waste generated in houses, commercial areas, institutions, to be segregated at different source categories. There are the three different source categories. This is shown here: the green dustbin, blue dustbin, and the red dustbin. So red dustbin is used to dump the domestic hazardous. Now another burning issue in India is, after plastic, another burning issue is the coastal zone management. So as you can see in the this map, the coastal states are Gujarat, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Puducherry, Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, and West Bengal. So where is the lack of the management in this coastal area? So there is a rapid income development in areas near coastline have not only led to loss of habitat for marine life, but also loss of livelihood for locals who are involved in fishing. See, in fact, if the ocean is become the dumping yard to dump the plastic and other waste, definitely uh, there will be a bad impact in ocean infrastructure, you can say, or ocean life. Normally in this coastal state, the fishing business is at high level, and many communities, they rely on the fishing business. Whole family is depend on the fishing business. In fact, whole family is involved in the fishing business. Just a second. Now we have the one department, that is an Center for Sustainable Coastal Management, who look overall coastal management work. So which comes under the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Government of India. So you can go to their website, that is www.ncsi.gov. cs.res.in. So there you can see that what are the different infrastructure they are having to do the coastal management. They are having the monitoring and tracking system of fish landing center. They track the fish landing center. They track the fishing boats, and um, in fact, how much is the fish catch has been taken in that fish land center. Whoever is doing the business illegally, that cannot be uh, considered, that cannot be comes into the fishing management. Those who are doing the fishing illegally, they can be tracked and they can be put behind the bar. But nowadays, the illegal fishing start at the small level, at some area. But illegal fishing is also one of the major issues in Indian scenario, which may illegal fishing also you can say there is a lack of coastal management. If you want to start your fishing business, then you have to do the registration, you have to take the permission from their local office, then only you can do the fishing. So National Center for Sustainable Coastal Management under the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Government of India has the vision like better protection, conservation, rehabilitation, management and policy decision of the coast. It would promote integrated and sustainable management of coastal and marine areas in India and advise the union and the states, union territory, government, and other associated stakeholders on policy and science matters related to integrated coastal management. In fact, to this department, there are so many NGOs, so many international organizations are connected together to resolve the problems which are arising in the coastal area. So coastal management is very much related to the um, plastic pollution in the ocean, or sea level is rising, temperature of sea is rising, climate change and the global environment, global warming. So all these issues are very much related to the coastal management. So for coastal management, they have to use the advanced technology. They have to use the sensor technology to detect what is happening below water. So they have to track, and this uh, uh, this department, NCSM department, having the scientific divisions which look the work of coastal management, that is the coastal environmental impact assessment. This is one of the division. Uh, they do the real-time long-term monitoring of critical coastal ecosystem. Another division is coastal and marine resources conservation, that is CMR, which do the conservation of ecology sensitive area and demarcation of critically vulnerable coastal areas. FTR, futuristic research, measurement of blue carbon sequestration and real-time greenhouse gas emission from the coastal ecosystem to develop long-term climate change scenario. And GEO, this is geospatial science, development of science based on decision support using state-of-art technology in remote sensing and geographic information system, that is GIS technology. Another division is IIM, Integrated Island Management, framework for development of integrated island management plan for conservation and socio-economic sustainability of India's island. Now, each sector each division is important in case of coastal management. So nowadays, ocean conservation has become the global agenda. So for that, we need to take a step which has taken unitedly by the United Nations. So integrated social science and economics, community and livelihood issues, valuation of coastal ecosystem goods and services to support integrated coastal zone management. Another division is knowledge, governance, and policy. This is a preparation of ICZM plan and knowledge management for the coastal governance and policy, develop capacity in coastal zone management for all stakeholders. There may be some industry which is doing the shipping business, or uh, industry who is involved in the oil refinery, or those who are involved in the fishing industry, those who do the fishing business, or those who are involved into do the ocean mining for metal and for minerals and for the different things. So all these industries uh, are the stakeholders. Now, what is environmental governance? Environmental governance is also the burning issue in Indian scenario. This center needs to revamp its environmental governance strategy, which are lying in midpoint due to a slow pace of infrastructure development and fragmented policies. So I can give one example. If suppose the rural coastal area, um, those and the fishing community, those who are doing the fishing into that village coastal site, and if they are having the problem to get the information, weather information or the fish stock information, they don't have any infrastructure to communicate to the concerned department, and whatever indigenous knowledge they are having, they use this knowledge and they do the fishing. Due to the lack of infrastructure, the coastal governance is not possible. So you can say that such areas are identified in Indian scenario or Indian coastal area, or not only the coastal, all the other environmental issues. And there is a need to aware the people about the environment, or if there is a burning issue in that particular area, then there is a need to um, provide that services through the local government, to the higher government or central government. So whatever the services which are provided in case of environment or environmental issues by the government, by the NGOs, by the industry to the community, then only we can say that we can have the proper environmental governance for that particular community or for a particular area, those who are suffering with the environmental related issues. Now, climate change. The country is vulnerable to climate change due to the combination of factors like high dependence of accessible energy resources, high population, and rampant poverty. Uh, in fact, we will study this climate change in detail in next part. Protect India's forest and urban green species, says India's climate change report. Warning against rapid climate change, India first ever climate change assessment report has revealed, and in that they have mentioned that in the report there is a rise in temperature is expected by 4.4 degrees Celsius by the end of 2100 year. So the report warned about that the rapid changes in the temperature would mean increasing the stress on India's natural ecosystem, agriculture output, and freshwater resources, which means a serious impact on biodiversity, food, water, and energy security and the public health. So they have warned into that report that we have to take the steps to what we can what we can help to the nation to maintain the temperature of atmosphere. The report also called the research and strategy towards improving the resilience in Indian cities and advocated for protecting the country's forest and urban green species. Now we can say that If in urban city there are very less green spaces are available because urban population is increased too much, and there are very less green span or spaces are available in the urban area. We'll go switch over to the next slide. Just a second. Let me make everyone attendees, then I will switch over to the slide. Okay, already we were at climate change. So climate change is not only the vulnerable to Indian scenario, climate change has become the global agenda nowadays. So many countries have taken the step on climate change. Uh, I already talked about the 184 Paris Agreement. This Paris Agreement is specially meant for on the climate change issue. So we can say that this climate change is the global phenomena of climate transformation characterized by the changes in the usual climate of the planet regarding the temperature, precipitation, and the wind that are specially caused by the human activities. So we are only the responsible on the climate change issue. So almost 75% of 184 Paris Agreement pledges were judged insufficient to slow the climate change. Only 28 European unions and 7 other will reduce the emission by at least 40% by 2030. China and India top emitters of carbon emission and will reduce the emission intensity, but their emission will increase. US, second top emitter, has reversed the key national policy to combat the climate change. As I already said that US has uh, taken back from this Paris Agreement because they are having the oil refinery, and they are doing this oil refinery. They are having the more oil refinery in their industry, and they if there is some talk on common platform, then it will be difficult to US to talk on this climate change issue because they are the top emitters because of the oil refinery industry and other industry. So US has taken a back out from the Paris Agreement. So because of the business, because to save the economy of US, he has taken the back out from the Paris Agreement. So almost 70% of the pledges rely on the funding from the wealthy nation for their implementation. As I already said that um, at the United Platform, European group have taken the steps to avoid the um, air travel if there is a road transport is available. uh, so air through the air travel, they can reduce the through to avoiding the air travel, they can be a part of to reduce, they cannot become the part of emitters of carbon emission in the air. So they have decided at Unitedly that wherever is possible, we have to travel, we have to take the transport by road. So they try to avoid the air transport. Now, climate change impacts in India. So, warmer season. Average temperature rise by 2 degree to centigrade, 1.0 to 4.0 degree centigrade at extreme range. So average temperature rise is 2 degree centigrade and extreme range is 1 to 4 degree centigrade. So increase annual precipitation, lower frequency of rainy days, increase intensity. Cyclonic disturbances, lower frequency, increase intensity, increase risk of storm surges. You might be knowing that in the year of 2020 we have experienced three cyclone. Sea level rise 1.3 mm per year on average. Freshwater supply, high variability predicted in water yields from 50% increase to 40 to 50% reduction. 10 to 30% increased risk of floods, increased risk of droughts. So these are the reasons, or this we are experience in a particular season. We experience the flood in the rainy season. We experience the shortage of water in the dry season, and even we experience the sudden rise in temperature during the summer season, or sometimes there is a fall in temperature in winter season. Now we can say that there is a unexpected snowfall in the Jammu and Kashmir. It's early snowfall in Jammu and Kashmir. So because of the unbalanced weather or climate change, this is happening. So you can say that during the dry season or summer season, water level goes very down. So many area, specifically in Maharashtra, Marathwada region, gets shortage of water too much during the dry season or during the summer season. So I think few years back, government transported the water by train to that region to for this fresh water supply. They are transported to the train to Marathwada region because there was a severe shortage of water, even drinking water for their cattle and for household purpose. There was no water. Now, why 7 times more Indians may face a fury of climate change? Here by 2050, uh, now you can recognize that there are 2 years, 2050 and 2030. Normally in all report, these 2 years figure will come because uh, United Nations, they have done the survey. What will happen by 2030? What will happen by 2050? They are having that agenda. That is you can say that 17 goals and 163 target they want to achieve by 2030, and all these issues are very much related, and all these issues are incorporated in different 17 goals, sustainable development goals. So they have taken this call that they want to achieve this by 2030 or 2050, and whatever the risk will increase by 2030 and 2050. So mostly on all report, these 2 years we will be able to see. So by 2050, 36 million Indians could lose their homes and livelihoods due to the flooding caused by the rising of sea levels. According to the new projection from US-based research group Climate Central. So this research group warned the Indian coastal area that by 2050, 36 million Indians may lose the homes and they may lose their life. While previous models predicted that only about 5 million Indians were at risk, but they have done the research and they have predicted that instead of 5 million, 36 million by 2050 may lose their homes, may lose their life. So you can see the Surat, which is in Gujarat, and older projections suggested that the sea level rise at even couple of meters would shift to the tidal zone towards the diamond and textile hub. The latest projection shows that vast chunk of the city home to about 5 million people face the risk of annual floods. So you can see this red line. This is the projection, new projection. In Maharashtra, you can say 18 million people as at higher risk because the sea level has been increased. Sea level, sea water temperature has been increased. The water has become warmer and warmer, and this increase in temperature is also very much danger to species which are at the bottom of the sea or which are in the sea. Means life below the water is also in danger because uh, temperature of this sea is going to warmer and warmer. Now, Kolkata, Kerala, and Chennai also uh, having the prediction by 2050 what will happen. So, along with this temperature issue, there is a illegal sand mining. Too much of exploitation of the ocean is also one of the reason of rising the sea level or flooding frequently during the rainy season. So not only the temperature is the reason to for the temperature is not only the reason. Other factors like mining of sea for different minerals and different metals is also one of the reason. Okay, another problem or another issue normally in winter season, smoke. So you must have seen in the news that every winter Delhi hits the smoke. Due to that, farmers who does the farming in the northern side, they burn their paddies. Paddies stubble is nothing but the leftover of the rice or straws, or you can say the rice straws or the wheat straws. They call it at the paddy stubble. Instead of cleaning this or removing these paddies which are lying on the farms, they put on the fire. So farmer normally in winter season they want to clean their farms, so they burn their paddy stubble, and due to this burning, the smokes enter into the Delhi, and Delhi people they suffer a lot during the winter season. Their air quality goes down. So many international organizations they have done the research that how many farmers burn these paddies stubble, how much smoke comes, or who are the responsible, and what is the alternate solution to that farmer. So one company which came in front, I don't remember the name of the company, and that company people uh, visited to our college and they delivered one lecture that biomass energy generation on this paddy stubble and other leftover of inside the farm. To I think in 2019 the company manager he came and he presented how much energy he is generating through this paddy stubble and the other leftover which is lying on the field. So that company is doing the community service, whatever energy he has generated, whatever electricity he has generated in his company based on this paddy stubble, so he returned back this electrical energy to the farmer. Farmer gives this paddy stubble and other things to this company, and in replace to them, the electricity provides to this farmer in the farming business. Okay, so this solution came in front of this industry came to help the government at if people will uh, give this leftover to that company, so company can generate the electricity. But the another problem is that farmer is not having the transport facility to transport this leftover to that company, or farmer is not having money to, or farmer don't want to invest the money in the transporting this leftover part which is lying in the their farm in during the winter season. So what company has done, company comes to their farm and they collect this leftover things, and they compensate with each other. So but for such thing they have to coordinate with that company. But some farmer they don't wait, they just put on the fire and smoke enters in Delhi side. You can see another picture here. Stubble burning in Punjab. This is detected by the satellite. You can see Amritsar. Here you can see the yellow dots. Whenever there is a fire in the field, this will be noticed by satellite. NASA has detected that in Amritsar, then particular field is on fire. So Amritsar, they have noted in 20th September and 20th October in last year. The farmer put the fire, put his leftover part in the fire. So this is detected by NASA firm. So smoke is one of the issue in urban area because of this farmer uh, because of the farmer, or there is also because of the industrial pollution, also the smoke lands in urban area. So here I can say this farmer has put all his paddy on fire, and the smoke Delhi is near about 250 kilometer from the Punjab, and you can imagine the smoke travel near about 250 kilometer and enter into the Delhi, and Delhi comes under the smoke. This is the latest picture because of this fire, and now we are suffering with this pandemic situation. So those who are infected by this COVID-19, so they are mostly having the problem to breathe in this type of atmosphere. So we will continue. The next issue is a man-animal conflict. Man-animal conflict we will continue in the next lecture.